The governments of India and Canada will have to talk to each other and see how they resolve the differences over the death of Khalisani separatists, Hardeep Singh Nijjar, said India's External Affairs Minister S. Shankar, after he asserted that the larger issue of permissiveness must be flagged and addressed. During an interaction with Indian journalists on Friday, he said India was ready to look into the information related to Canada's allegations of the potential involvement of Indian agents in the killing of Khalisani extremist Hardeep Singh Nijjar on June 18 in British Columbia. This is what Shankar said.
Yes, the Canadian Prime Minister made some allegations, initially privately and then publicly. And our response to him, both in private and public, were that what he was alleging was not consistent with our policy, and that if his government had anything relevant and specific they would like us to look into, we were open to looking at it. Now, that's where that conversation is at this point of time. But to understand that conversation, you have to also appreciate that this has been an issue of great friction for many years with Canada, in fact going back to the 1980s. Then it became dormant, but in the last few years it has come back very much into play because of what we consider to be a very permissive Canadian attitude towards terrorists, extremists, people who openly advocate violence. And they have been given operating space in Canada because of the compulsions of Canadian politics.
Shankar also said he was struck by how little people in the US, especially officials he met over the last days, including Secretary of State Antony Blinken and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, knew about Canada's permissive attitude towards terrorism and the thriving nexus of crime, extremism, and human trafficking that exists in that country. This lack of awareness, the minister said, is a part of the problem. S. Shankar told reporters on Friday that a lot of Americans are astonished. When Americans look at Canada, they see something. When we in India look at Canada, we see something else. And that's a part of the problem. White House and State Department officials have expressed deep concern over Trudeau's allegations and have said they support the investigation and want India to cooperate. In fact, according to reports, it's the US that provided key information to Canadians about alleged India links to the killing as part of the Five Eyes intelligence sharing agreement that the two countries have with the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. Shankar said it did not come up in the meetings. He added, "It's important that we, talk it out with the Americans. After all, they are very close to Canada, they are a good friend of ours. And it's important that they also have an accurate picture, that they have our point of view on this matter as well." To underscore the seriousness of issues at hand, Shankar brought up threats faced by Indian missions. He said, when was the last time that any of our missions was intimidated to a point where it could not continue with its normal functioning? And if someone says this could happen in a G7 country, in the Commonwealth countries, it gives you a lot to think about.